Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com, promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. So here we go again. Another federal judge denying President Donald Trump's, this time, his effort to ban transgender people from joining the military, which was set to go into effect tomorrow. We have the latest on this. More DOGE cuts were announced this week. The Department of Government Efficiency announced that it had terminated 113 contracts valued at $4.7 billion, including a U.S. Department of Agricultural consulting contract for Peru's climate change activity. Do you care about Peru's climate change activities? I don't. A young women's leadership nonprofit is puzzled why the popular thermal cup manufacturer, YETI, has refused to fulfill a second order of customized cups. Could it have been because they're a conservative group? And Greenville Water Commissioner Deb Sofield gives us an update on the wildfires surrounding the Table Rock Reservoir in northern Greenville County.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
So here's the story today. A federal judge appointed by none other than Joe Biden just threw a wrench in the Trump administration's plan to restore military readiness and common sense by blocking a policy that would prevent individuals with gender dysphoria, a serious medical diagnosis, from joining the United States military, from keeping you and I safe, from protecting our country. The latest, Judge Anna Reyes from Washington, D.C., whom I'm sure spends more time probably in Georgetown cafes than she does thinking about combat logistics. She decided that her robe and her ideology outweigh decades of military readiness standards. Because now, if you say you identify as something other than your biological sex, boom, you're protected. You're untouchable. And the Pentagon just has to deal with it, right? Never mind that this isn't about who someone thinks they are. It's about whether you're medically and mentally fit to serve in one of the most physically and emotionally demanding institutions on earth, the United States military. Now, don't be fooled. This wasn't some act of compassion by this judge. This wasn't about liberty. This was about activism. Pure, unchecked, ideological, social justice activism injected into the bloodstream of our national defense by this activist judge. The Trump administration said very plainly, this isn't a ban on transgender individuals. This is about whether or not someone has gender dysphoria, which is a documented medical condition. The same way the military would screen out someone with bipolar disorder, eating disorders, or any condition that affects their readiness and deployability, they're saying we can't have personnel who aren't combat ready. Isn't that what you want? Aren't these the types of people you want in a uniform ready to protect our country? People who are combat ready? Not some guy who doesn't know if he should wear pants or a dress? Seems reasonable, right? Seems like what you'd want in an armed forces, in the armed forces that might be deployed to take on China, Russia, Iran, and every other powder keg on the planet. But no to the left. No, the left, they think it's okay. We got to protect these people. And not to Judge Reyes, because now feelings trump fitness and identity overrides discipline. The truth is, the military isn't a social experiment. It's not a therapy center. It's not a campus where you get a trophy for participation. It's a place where men and women, and yes, women are welcome. Women are great soldiers. But it's where they train to fight and die for this country. And every decision about who joins and who doesn't should be based on readiness, based on their capability and cohesion, not the latest trending hashtag from San Francisco. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, God bless him, called it like it is. He even suggested the judge should spend some time visiting military bases if she's going to start micromanaging defense policy from the bench. It's a good idea. Send her out there. I'd say let her do a month at Fort Benning and get back to us. Let her go to basic training and then tell us. See how that ivory tower opinion holds up after 4 a.m. PT runs with a full in fatigues and a backpack on her. Now, look, I don't care what someone does in their personal life. I've said that many times. That's between them and their conscience. But when we start sacrificing the integrity of our military, our frontline defenders, for the sake of woke virtue signaling, we're walking straight into a national suicide with our eyes wide open. President Trump was absolutely right to try and reintroduce a dose of sanity into Pentagon policy. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they're the ones who introduced this to begin with. They're the ones who created this chaos by suggesting that it doesn't matter if you're a little confused about your sexuality, about your gender identity. And now, just like clockwork, the left runs to the courts and they block it. And this judge, she gave the game away. She wrote that gender dysphoria is different from other conditions because it only affects transgender people. Well, no kidding. And that's exactly the problem. It's a condition tied directly to identity, not functionality. If you let that be the basis for policy, you're prioritizing ideology over merit, over their ability to do the job that they're there to do. But hey, don't expect this to be the last fight. Trump's administration, I'm sure, will appeal. I hope they take it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, where reason, hopefully, still occasionally has a seat at the table. Our armed forces aren't here to validate personal journeys. If you're confused about your identity, fine, work it out. If you want to live, if you want to be an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, if you want to work in a local retail store, in a local restaurant, that's fine. Have at it. Be happy. But don't put the safety of our country in jeopardy because of your feelings, because you feel like that you're actually a woman now. And if we forget that, folks, if we forget that our military folks are there to win wars, we're not going to just lose the military. We're going to lose our country. By the way, the Department of Government Efficiency announced that it has terminated 113 contracts valued at $4.7 billion, including, and this is one of the latest, U.S. Department of Agricultural consulting contract for Peru's climate change activities. The department posted on X. Agencies terminated 113 wasteful contracts with a ceiling value of $4.7 billion and savings of $3.3 billion, including a $145,000 USDA consulting contract for Peru climate change activity. DOGE also announced that the Department of Labor had canceled $577 million in America Last grants, totaling $237 million in savings. The funding was canceled, including $10 million for gender equity in Mexican workplaces. I mean, you read some of this and you have to laugh because you want to cry. $10 million for gender equity in the Mexican workplace. $12.2 million for worker empowerment. Guess where? South America. And $6.25 million for improving respect for workers' rights in agricultural supply chains in the countries of Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. I hope they track down the people who came up with these ideas. I don't know what they'd do with them when they find them, though. This is absurd, folks. This is what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did to our country. Millions of dollars going to these other countries. It gets better. They also eliminated $5 million to elevate women's participation in the workplace in West Africa. $4.3 million to assist foreign migrants working in Malaysia. $3 million to enhance Social Security access and worker protection for internal migrants workers in Bangladesh. And $3 million for safe and inclusive work environments in the southern African country of Lesotho. I've never heard of it, but it's in southern Africa. Wow. This is what our money is going to. And we wonder why we're trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. And we've been sending money to these countries for this kind of crap. Again, I would love to sit down with a Biden-Harris administration official who came up with some of these grant ideas and hear what they were thinking. I'd love to know what the person who decided that we needed to send $5 million to elevate women's participation in the workplace in West Africa, what were they thinking? Why did they think this was useful money, useful uses of our tax dollars? I'd love to know why they sent $4.3 million to assist foreign migrant workers in Malaysia. Who came up with that idea? Please come forward. I want to talk to you. It's insanity, folks. It is insanity. And thank goodness Elon Musk, Donald Trump is putting an end to it. Joey Hudson here. You know, this spring there's a renewed energy and focus on efficiencies and shaking up unhealthy habits. There's so much chatter about making America great again, but it all starts in your home with you being the best, healthiest version of yourself. And PhD Weight Loss is doing their part because for the first time ever, the first 11 callers get 2 weeks added to your weight loss program, and that is huge. PhD is out to prove that you don't need Big Pharma to reach your goals. It just creates dependency, not long-term change. Dr. Ashley Lucas researched weight loss trends for years and discovered a scientifically proven way to retrain your body to burn fat efficiently without hunger, extreme exercise, or dangerous medications. PhD clients watch their belly fat disappear, their energy skyrocket, cholesterol and blood pressure normalize without starving themselves. I lost over 30 pounds and I've never felt better. So call today, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. Mention promo code Joey for my 2 weeks for free. Plus, when you fully commit, you'll receive 15% off your entire program. Terms and conditions apply. Just mention promo code Joey when you call. Boy, Elon Musk is a busy guy these days. Now he's helping lead the investigation into the what is being called now as Signalgate, the chat leak involving top national security leaders and the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, according to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt yesterday, as she announced that Musk would use his expertise and his team's expertise to try to determine how this happened.
As for your original question about who's looking into the messaging thread, the National Security Council, the White House counsel's office, and also, yes, Elon Musk's team. Elon Musk has offered to put his technical experts on this to figure out how this number was inadvertently added to the chat. Again, to take responsibility and ensure this can never happen again.
Now, the Democrats have had a field day with this week. And honestly, this was a self-inflicted wound here. This never should have happened, but it's not as serious as the Democrats want it to appear. And like I said, they've now named it. It's Signalgate. The Trump administration, of course, facing a lot of backlash from the Democrats and other critics about just how the Atlantic editors-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, ended up on this signal group, this chat with top national security leaders, including National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, CIA Director John Ratcliffe. And every day I think, okay, we're not going to talk about this again. We're going to get past this. And I hope we do pretty soon. But it's like every day there's a new revelation. There's something new that we find out. Of course, Signal is an encrypted messaging app that operates just like texting or making a phone call. I have the app on my phone. I don't use it. I don't have any friends who who use it on a regular basis, but I haven't because I have used it in the past. The advantage to Signal is that it has additional security measures that help ensure communications are kept private to those included in the correspondence. No way to break into it. The Atlantic's initial report characterized the Trump administration as texting, quote, war plans. And those are the words that they use, war plans to one another. Now, the Trump administration has maintained that no classified material was transmitted in the chat. President Donald Trump has defended Mike Waltz and has said that Mike Waltz it was a mistake. He has confidence in Mike Waltz. Mike Waltz will continue. There was a call for Trump to fire Waltz. Trump has stood by him. Trump revealed Tuesday, I guess it was, that a member of Waltz's office invited Goldberg to the chat, but did not provide additional information about why that happened. Elon Musk and his team are going to look into it because it appears that Mike Waltz himself doesn't know exactly. He joined the Ingram angle. He took full responsibility for this inadvertent addition of Goldberg to the chat, and he argued that he believed that the account belonged to someone else that was in his contact list.
But I can tell you for 100%, I don't know this guy. I know him by his horrible reputation, and he really is the bottom scum of journalists. And I know him in the sense that he hates the president, but I don't text him. He wasn't on my phone, and we're going to figure out how this happened.
So you don't know what staffer is responsible for this right now?
Well, look, a staffer wasn't responsible, and look, I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
But how did the number? I mean, I don't mean to be pedantic here, but how did the number?
Have you ever had somebody's contact that shows their name, and then you have somebody else's number there?
I never make those mistakes.
Right? You got somebody else's number on someone else's contact. So of course I didn't see this loser in the group. It looked like someone else. Now whether he did it deliberately or it happened in some other technical mean is something we're trying to figure out.
Waltz also indicated that he had talked to Elon Musk and that Musk was going to use some of his, quote, best technical minds to look into it. And, hey, look, if anybody can get to the bottom of it, I would think that the Musk team could do so. Don't you find it interesting, though, and I'm going to digress here for a minute, how much Elon Musk is being called on? It's like every day there's something new that he is asked to do. And I'm not questioning his ability to do it. I just think it's interesting, and I applaud it, that they realize that, hey, we have a guy who has great technical experience, knowledge. His team does. Let's put them to good use. They've volunteered to do this. They've offered to do this. Let's use them. That's unheard of in any previous administrations. Now, we learned about this on Monday when the Atlantic printed an article concerning the Signal chat. Mr. Goldberg published again yesterday a follow-up story that included messages directly from the chat. The article did not characterize the correspondence as, quote, war plan, as they had said earlier in the week. Instead, they referred to them as, quote, attack plans in the headline. The Trump administration responded that the follow-up story proved that there were no war plans in the correspondence, taking a victory lap that the story was exposed to be a hoax. Now, the Atlantic has conceded that these were not war plans. Levitt posted this on X. Caroline Levitt posted that on X yesterday, saying the entire story was another hoax written by a Trump hater who is well known for his sensationalist spin. Mr. Waltz posted on X yesterday as well, quote, no locations, no sources and methods, no war plans. Foreign partners had already been notified that strikes were imminent. Bottom line, President Trump is protecting America and our interest. A spokesperson for the Atlantic defended that the outlet did expose a, quote, war plan. They're sticking to it in its Wednesday report, pointing Fox News to a screenshot included in the piece of Hegseth's messages related to F-18s and drone strikes that were accompanied by timestamps for the operation. The report said if this information, particularly the exact times American aircraft were taking off for Yemen, had fallen into the wrong hands in that crucial 2-hour period, American pilots and other American personnel could have been exposed to even greater danger than they ordinarily would have faced. And you have to give them that because they're right. If that had gone to the wrong person, it could have potentially cost American lives. Ms. Leavitt said during the press conference, though, that the Signal, quote, is an approved app for government employees, citing that the CIA has it loaded onto government phones because it's the most secure and efficient way to communicate. And I agree with that. I don't think the question is whether or not Signal is a secure app, because it is. It's encrypted. But you got to make sure you have the right people on it. You can't put your enemies in the chat group that you're exchanging the messages with. Speaking of the U.S. military and the strikes against the Houthis, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday shut down a British journalist who was trying to ask a question about the leaked signal messages related to this. She told the reporter, well, first she asked the reporter, where are you from? Because you could tell the reporter had an accent. Then she said, go back to your country. Here's the exchange.
Anybody else?
Should the Defence Secretary...
What country are you? Wait, what country are you from?
From the UK.
Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion and your reporting. Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem?
Okay,
and you, no. You should care about your own borders.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
Let me tell you something. Do you care about people from your country? What about all the women that are raped by migrants?
Do you care
No,
about
by migrants. No, do you care? Okay, you're done.
Do you care about American lives
no,
being put at risk?
You know what? No, I don't care.
Service members fighting for your country.
I don't care about your
vice
fake
president
news. Do you have a relevant question? Yeah, this is an American journalist. Thank you.
Now, I don't know if this journalist didn't understand who Marjorie Taylor Greene is and didn't understand that she's not one that you really want to pick a fight with, but she got one with the Republican from Georgia. Now here's the scenario. Here's what was happening. Marjorie Taylor Greene was just leaving a congressional hearing on allegations of bias at NPR and PBS when Sky News correspondent Martha Kellner attempted to ask her about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth divulging details of the March 15th strikes in Yemen with this encrypted messaging app. That's what I'm saying. This story won't go away. Everybody keeps asking questions about it. Greene asked seconds after hearing Kellner's accent, wait, what country are you from? I mean, it's obvious the lady wasn't from Georgia. She wasn't a Southern journalist. So when the reporter responded, of course, that she was from the United Kingdom, that's when Marjorie Taylor Greene went off on her and said, look, I don't care what you think in your country. This is an issue for Americans, and I'm not answering your question. That's when they got into this back and forth. The reporter tried to call Greene out, but again, she picked the wrong person to pick a fight with, right? Greene refused to offer to answer it, and when an American reporter in the back was ready to answer a question, she immediately called on the American reporter, and he identified himself as an American reporter. Should Marjorie Taylor Greene have answered the question? Love to get your comments. You can text me, email me, joe@joeyhudson.com. Your messages are welcome on the MyPillow message line as well, 864-477-JOEY. Just leave me a quick message. While you're at MyPillow.com, always use promo code Joe. And boy, does Mike Lindell have a great opportunity right now. They have a big allotment of bed sheets that were earmarked for box stores this spring. The box stores have canceled, so now you're going to get the savings. Giza Dream Sheets and Perkel bed sheets. Giza Dream Sheets, queen size, for example, normally $139.98. When you use promo code Joey, you get them for $69.99. Wholesale. King size, only $79.99. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059. MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Get that set of sheets. King size, only $34.98 when you use promo code Joey. MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. I guess we kind of thought that this whole cancellation culture, that we were kind of past that, but maybe not. Thermal cup brand YETI has come under fire on social media for refusing to fulfill an order for a young women's nonprofit leadership organization. Now, I was a bit disappointed when I read this story because, quite honestly, I like YETI products. I have a number of YETI cups. We have a YETI that we carry food in, and they're just good products. So I was very disappointed when I read this story that this company treats groups like this. So here's the story. In emails obtained by media, YETI had previously fulfilled an order for the Clare Boothe Luce Center worth just over $3,700 in May of last year with the organization's logo on customized YETI cups. Now, the Clare Boothe Luce Center for Conservative Women in Northern Virginia is a nonprofit, describes itself as an all-women organization that specializes in the conservative outreach, education, and mentorship of young women. The center is named after Clare Boothe Luce, herself a celebrated playwright, congresswoman, and ambassador to Italy. The club president, Kimberly Begg, in an interview, said that Luce actually has an amazing quote that we all use all the time, and it goes like this: "Courage is the ladder upon which all the other virtues mount," and she was courageous. We think that that is the one quality above all else that young women need, to be courageous, she said. In emails that were given to the media, YETI responded to inquiries from the Clare Boothe Luce Center regarding their canceled March 20th of this year, just last week, order, citing item number 15 or custom products in their terms and conditions. According to the brand, quote, "YETI values respect, tolerance, and open dialogue, and we serve a diverse and varied customer base. YETI has the sole discretion to reject any order that we deem inappropriate for production. Starting with our first customized Ramblers in 2015, we've used our best efforts to avoid creating custom products with political affiliations or associations. Because the process we use to identify political affiliations and associations involves human judgment, we may inadvertently accept an order and mark a YETI product with a candidate's name or campaign slogan simply because we weren't familiar with it when the order was placed." That's their explanation. Ms. Begg claimed in an interview that the YETI brand accepted their order worth $1,608 this week before canceling it abruptly. According to Begg, the center was originally confused about what changed between their May 2024 order and their attempted March 2025 order, which resulted in the cancellation. She said, YETI produced these beautiful mugs for us, and we always gave them to our speakers. She said, anybody who comes to speak, we end every single presentation very ceremoniously, handing off these mugs to our speakers, and our speakers love it. It's been this really fun thing that we've done over the last year and get all of our speakers to receive YETI mugs, so we're starting to run out. We contacted the company just for a reorder and did not expect there to be any problems whatsoever. Who would? I mean, that's the business YETI is in, is to sell these cups, these mugs. And like I said, I love mine. I've got multiple sizes. I've got the little coffee cups. I've got the Rambler that's in question here. I've got the big cups. One of my favorite cups that I use on my boat and at the lake is a large, I think it's a 16-ounce YETI that I received as a gift from the Tucker Hips Memorial Foundation and their golf tournament a few years ago. I keep it up there, and I keep it with me on the boat and all around. It's my favorite cup, although I'm questioning whether or not I need to use it. What do you think? Because of this idiocy, do we now have to boycott YETI? Now, according to Ms. Begg, when they got the note that their order had been canceled, this was when trouble really started. She said, what's really funny about it, when a young woman in our office contacted YETI, she didn't tape the conversation. She told me about it, and then she went back and she asked to talk to a YETI supervisor. And she tried and went back so many times, and eventually she said, there's nobody else to talk to. It's just a solid no. So evidently they tried to talk to YETI, talk some sense into them, and YETI was having none of it. The Claire Booth Luce Center social media pages have since been updated with news of the order cancellation, with an Instagram post saying, "So, YETI canceled us." And they explain, "We ordered the exact same product from YETI last year with no problems. Nothing is different. Their terms haven't changed in the last 10 years. We submitted payment and got all the confirmation emails. This is ridiculous. YETI, do better." If you want to see the full story, just go to my Facebook page. I copied and shared the story. Just go to Facebook, search for Joey Hudson. While you're there, be sure and follow me and comment and like this story. It's pretty crazy that we're still dealing with this type of stuff. Using data from the website Stock Analysis, the YETI brand is down 17.38% since this time last year, with a market cap of $2.8 billion. Look, if they're treating their customers like this, it's no wonder that they're down. A standard 10-ounce YETI Rambler mug currently sells for $25 a unit on their online shop. I mean, they're not inexpensive. And this is why I can't imagine why YETI wants to start this fight. They're great products. Stay out of this stuff. If a conservative group like this Claire Booth Luce Center wants cups, make them cups. That's what you're in the business of, making cups, YETI. If a liberal group, I guarantee you that you could probably find some liberal causes with YETI, with their names on YETI cups. These companies just need to stay out of this stuff. Do what you do. Make cups. A spokesperson for YETI provided a comment saying, "YETI serves a wide-ranging customer base by designing and developing outdoor products for passionate people to use in the wild." Hey, YETI, I bet a lot of those hunters and fishermen that buy your products are conservatives. They went on to say, "Starting with our first customizable drinkware in 2015, we've used our best effort to create and adhere to a policy that prevents customizing products aligned with any political affiliations or organizations, in addition to content that could be considered obscene, vulgar, profane, discriminatory, defamatory, or hateful. We regret that due to a mistake, this policy was not followed with the previous online order from the Claire Booth Luce Center." Wow. They're digging in. They're sticking to it. And the website or the Facebook post shows these beautiful cups. They're sort of a teal color, and they just have Claire Booth Luce. They have their logo, Center for Conservative Women. And YETI thinks that is offensive. YETI thinks that this organization training young conservative women leaders is vulgar or profane or obscene. Wow. Hey, again, YETI, do what you do. Make cups. If a conservative group, if young Republicans want cups, make them cups. If young Democrats want cups, make them cups. Wow. Your comments are welcome. Email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Text me. You can leave me a voice message on the MyPillow message line as well. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Love to get your comments on this. Are you going to throw your YETI out, even if it costs you $25? Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. All week, we have been watching the wildfire that has spread throughout the Table Rock area with the dry conditions, heavy winds. It's covered a pretty large area in northern Greenville and Pickens County. Of course, one of the concerns is the effect the fire can potentially have on the Greenville water system's Table Rock Reservoir. So no better person to give us an update than Greenville Water Commission member Deb Sofield. Welcome, Deb. How are you?
Hey, Joey, I'm good. Thanks, and thanks so much for calling.
Sure thing. So give us an update on the fire and what effect, if any, it has had on the water system.
Joey, thanks so much for asking. First, I want everyone to know that your water is safe. Do not worry about the water. Please understand, Greenville has 3 watersheds, and if there was anything that we felt was amiss or came through the processing plant, if they saw anything, they would reroute water. But you're safe, and I think that's probably the most important thing I can say. Joey, the second thing is it is absolutely devastating. I don't think people have any idea of what has actually happened. So a fire started on top of Table Rock, 4 kids dinking around. Next thing you know, it's within the water system. Now the wind's picked up. It's burned over 1,000 acres. By the time we're done, we just have no idea. What's interesting about this fire versus the Pinnacle fire that happened in 2016, that burned 10,000 acres, and we had strike forces from Utah and other places come in and help. What's different about this is the wind is blowing it and has blown to where we have homes.
Wow.
So many more homes in this area.
Yeah.
Now, I will say what shocked us is when we looked at the fire coming near the watershed, we just felt sure it wouldn't come in, but it did. It jumped the fire line, and then it came into the watershed. But what was interesting is so many times water, when a fire comes to the water edge, it goes out. This one jumped the watershed, and so now the fire is racing down to Highway 11, and Highway 11 is now closed.
Wow.
So our worry is twofold. Because of Hurricane Helene, there's what we call fuel on the forest floor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's where we are. There's fuel on the forest floor. And so the fire, it was basically tinder.
Yeah, it's like material to use to start a fire.
Absolutely. And there was so much on the ground that it's small. It's everything from small limbs to the leaves that got blown down to huge trees and trunks.
Yeah.
So the other part is we still hadn't been able to get all the way in to repair and fix a lot of that. And the fact is a lot of it's going to have to go to basically recycling itself through generations.
Yeah.
But this is kind of an odd coming together of the wind, the fire, and the no rain.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the weather reports every day. We'll have rain next month, but I've put a prayer, as many others, Lord, we need rain now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the conditions are just perfect for this type situation. Has the water system lost any structures? Do you have buildings in the area that have been affected?
We do have plenty of buildings in the area. I don't believe we've lost anything. I will say that we did reach out to a couple places asking them to come and help us. So we were able to get some fire trucks to get up to the watershed to help soak down some of our buildings. Remember, we have a ton of equipment up there.
Yeah.
And to that point, we moved our equipment from the Table Rock Watershed, North Saluda, Oil Camp Road to Asbury Methodist Camp is the kind of the staging area, and we're using some of our very large excavators to help other people. This is an all hands on deck. It's more than just the Forestry Commission. We've had great help from our surrounding areas. Unfortunately, word did not get to perhaps Columbia soon enough. We needed the bigger choppers to come in so they could pick up more water and douse the flame. To that point, anything they used to douse the flame, please know none of that was used in the watershed. We only allowed them to use water from the watershed. And when they used the bucket, we had the buckets cleaned before they were ever allowed to dip in to the watershed to help prevent the fire throughout the area.
Yeah. As I've seen some of the video of this and watched the planes and the helicopters, I mean, I'm not sure how much water, for example, the helicopter can haul at one time, but it just seems like it's truly just a drop in the bucket for as big of an area that this fire has covered.
Yes, without a doubt. And the problem is the land is so dry that when it does hit, it can only do in that one area. But something we're watching, Joey, there is a satellite that goes over, I think, twice a day. And in the evening, it's a heat map satellite. And we're just seeing a lot more hot spots in places we just don't have any way to get to. I think people forget how mountainous it is. There are no roads.
Yeah.
You're just up and down the side of a mountain. And just the negligence of those kids and the damage that is done is going to be felt for a lifetime.
Yeah. A lot of my listeners as we've watched this week, and I've had comments, emails, text messages, will there be some accountability, responsibility on their part for setting this? I'm not sure. That would be with Pickens County and the Sheriff's Department there. Yeah, obviously, as you said, I mean, it's caused a lot of damage, a lot of things that will not be. It'll take years and years. So I guess the bottom line, and with me today, Deb Sofield, Greenville Water Commissioner. I guess the bottom line is, from a standpoint of water safety and water supply, there's no concern there. There's really not. Remember, we pull from Table Rock, North Saluda, and Lake Keowee, so we have a redundancy in our water system. And if any water is compromised, please know that when it hits the Stovall plant, which is there in our, pretty much the North Saluda area, it would be picked up at the plant. Yeah. So no water will go through the system that would not have been tested and made sure it meets all of our quality water standards. Yep. Deb Sofield, it's always a pleasure. Appreciate your time and what you guys do. And as you said, I think the biggest thing our listeners can do is pray. Pray for water, and, of course, pray for the safety of the first responders and all the people who are up there working to try to contain this fire, and for those people who, the residents in that area, pray for their homes, and that rain will come, the fire will go away, and then we can start looking at recovery. Yes, Joey, thank you so much, and thank your listeners for caring about our community. It's going to take all of us to send a prayer and asking for help. Thanks so much. Sure thing. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.